about his golf theory.
Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for having us.
Which helps to create a run in front of the ball.
Stephen, can you fix slice or hooks by changing setups?
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So to understand, what happens when someone has a severe slice or hook pattern,
Yep.
it's the extremes of, let's say, the direction of the swing.
Yep.
Either way too much to the left, we'll just say -10, with the face being just as open or more open, which causes that big curve.
Yep.
So if, a good way to understand the fix is understand what those extremes would generally look like. Now, sometimes with students, we will see them aiming in the direction of the shot that they don't like.
Right, right.
Meaning it's kind of like a pull, because they're trying to avoid the right.
Yep.
So they would just aim like way left. Now, and I know that generally the more left that they're aiming, they're just building in more swing to the left.
To the left?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it really doesn't change anything.
Right, right.
And in this case, let's say I was wanting the ball to finish in line with the pillar there, or sort of roughly in line with here. If I'm swinging in this direction, I'm going to eventually find a way to open the face up enough to make that ball like curve back, and vice versa.
Yep.
And I often call it they're surviving on the golf course. Ball's going way right. The way that they survive is just to aim left.
Yes,
But again, we know that that's actually just making the problem worse. Or at the very least, it's not changing it.
Right.
So I'm often, in extreme situations, I will often reverse everything that I see that they're doing. So one of the things I would do is drop the right foot back.
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily get their whole alignments to the right, because that can be sometimes a little bit challenging for them to aim. Even shifting the right foot back can be challenging, because a lot of golfers aim with their feet.
Yep.
But to be fair, because the arms are connected to the chest, that's probably going to influence the path the most. So I don't mind right foot back, just because it will give them a little bit of room if they're trying to shallow the club.
So just the trail foot a bit back.
Yep.
But the rest square to the target.
Pretty square. Maybe a little bit with the right side back is okay.
Okay. All right.
Because it's just going to give them a sense of being able to come at the ball that way.
Yep.
And we did speak about before ball position. So typically slicers will have the ball forward.
Yep.
And the handle would look something like this. This is very, very common.
Okay.
This to me, not only is my grip weak, but when the handle is back, that's a huge open face position. Any sort of shaft lean that I try and get would see the face pointing 20 degrees to the right.
Right.
So usually with them, I'm getting them to understand how to move the ball back on the arc. And for simplicity, we'll say center of the stance, or maybe even one ball back from center.
Okay.
Which is probably about 4 balls back from inside the left heel, which we touched on earlier.
Okay.
And if the grip's fairly functional, so it's not too much in the palm, what I would tend to do is close the face a lot.
A lot.
It could be anywhere from, I'm going to say 5 to 10 degrees.
Yep.
So we'll just call that about in that range, about 10 degrees.
Okay.
And then I would get them to rotate the forearms and push the handle forward until the face actually looked pretty straight. Now, what do you notice about my shoulders in that position?
Shoulders, right shoulder is a bit tilted to the right.
Okay. So that's giving them every chance again to direct the swing to the right in that position.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I would do. And if I was going to hit a hard draw or hook myself, I mean, I just feel like from there the ball's going to basically duck hook.
Right.
There's a pretty hard draw off the right fence.
Wow, it's perfect.
if we're on the TrackMan there, that's probably going to be 12 or 13 right.
Right.
Yeah, with a pretty nice face.
Yeah.
Probably about 6 degrees
Yeah,
closing
yeah.
face to path. So that's how I would start them. One of the challenges, just to maybe add to that,
Yep.
that I find when you get these slices that have the ball forward, the upper centre tends to get ahead of the
Yep.
lower.
Yep.
And we tend to find that this sort of thing happens. We get a lot of hip slide, we get a lot of reversing,
Right.
and that's kind of the beginning stages of the club wanting to work out.
Over the top.
Yep, over the top. So even though you just mentioned, you know, can we change it with setup, we often do have to get them a little bit of a better understanding of how to move this hip more inside,
Side.
which helps them to get the chest a little bit more down and around, because they tend to tilt
Right.
and overextend, come down that way. So those are a couple of things I look at.
So basically, if you slice the ball, feel like you aim to the right
Yeah,
rather than aim to the left.
correct. And indirectly, you're shifting their whole intention more to the right,
To the right.
which is super scary for a slicer because the ball's finishing to the right.
Right. Exactly.
But what we have to explain to them is it's not, you know, it's not the club face that's causing that, or I should say, it's actually the direction the swing's going in. Club face will cause the ball to start to the right,
Right.
but when we get this thing on the inside, you know, it's the inside path that
Path.
creates the curve.
Curve.
So we have to have a very good understanding of what we want to do with the face, because you don't want to get someone on the inside with an open face. They're just basically hitting a block
yeah.
cut into the fence. They
Right,
won't
right.
like you at all.
Right. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I'm always looking at that.
If you slice the ball, aim right, and try to curve the ball to the left.
Yeah,
I know it's a bit scary, but
that's what you need to do.
yeah. Wow. All right. What about hooks?
So I mentioned earlier I had a student that came to me who had a pretty functional swing, maybe a 12 handicap, something like that. And he looked exactly like this. He had a 4-knuckle grip,
Yep.
had the ball closer to his right foot than the center of the stance. As I would define it, it was probably 7 balls back on the arc. And he was hitting these shots that looked pretty much like this. So he moved pretty well back, and he hit these low
Oh,
hooks,
yep,
exactly like that. And that was with his 8-iron. So what happens with that if you're trying to hit a 5-iron? I mean, it's barely getting off the
Wow.
ground, or a 3-wood or whatnot. So really all I showed him was what would be a stock ball position for a soft draw. So usually for me, I'm moving the ball about 2 balls back
Right.
versus about 7. It was really the opposite of what I just explained. So you know, he was in this position here. And what I actually did with him is I said to him, okay, show me what it would look like with no forward shaft lean. So I might take him in a mirror that's in front of me here, and I would say, okay, let's just get the shaft straight. And then he could actually see how much the club face was closed. So what I would get him to do is open the face with no shaft lean and just lower everything down in front of him.
Yep.
So now he was looking like this. So all of a sudden, again, without telling him too much with his swing, I've probably giving him 10 degrees more loft just with the face. By moving the ball forward, we've given him a little bit more loft.
Yep.
And with that, you know, he was able to make his normal swing and hit a nice high draw or pretty straight shot.
You said for the slices, sort of aim to the right.
Yeah.
If you hook the ball, would you sort of feel like you aim to the left a bit?
If they were aiming to the right, and that was part of it, I would try and sneak him back a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But often I do find overdrawers or hookers are better player problems. They come to me often with a little bit too much slide.
Yeah.
They're dropping back behind the
right,
golf ball,
right.
things like that.
Right.
They often turn back too far and they sit back too much this way. I'm also working with them a lot on the exit and the release.
Yep.
Drawers tend to have high right exits.
Yes. Correct.
So one of the things I would do, and I'll let you jump in here.
All right.
And you don't have to hit a ball just yet, but you can take your setup.
Okay.
I would place the shaft on your shoulder and then bring it out here. And this would be the direction that you'd want the hand path to work in.
Hand path.
Yeah, hand path, and the club would work underneath this. Very good. So that would be more around.
Yes.
Yeah. Now for someone that's hitting it left,
Yeah.
when the thought of going around for them is a pretty scary thought.
Yes.
Just like a slicer.
Yes.
They think the ball's going to go left.
Exactly. That was my problem when I was fixing my hooks.
Right.
My ball is going to the left. You want me to swing left?
Yes.
No way.
When I'm dealing with someone who maybe turns it down a little bit too aggressively, what I might be getting them to feel is, assuming that the impact condition is pretty strong, I'm trying to get, as they're swinging left, the knuckles to stay more to the sky.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, more to the sky. Now, if they've got a really strong impact, this is a good feeling for them because it's adding loft and keeping the face
Open.
yeah, almost an open feeling.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then they can confidently go left and not feel like the ball's going to duck hook on them.
Hooks. So their follow through is just like this.
Yes, exactly
Like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Not like that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. As long as you're strong here,
Yeah.
you can sort of let it go here.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to what you just did there, if you do the same exit, but you feel knuckles up, yep. Yeah, be a little bit more that way, and then just turn. Good, you're basically keeping the face open through there, or at least
more
you're not
square.
shutting it down.
Yeah. I used to do that back in the days.
Yeah,
Yeah. Knuckles down like that.
got you. So that's a really good feeling for someone who's trying to exit more left or move the swing more left versus right for your, let's say, someone that's hooking it too much.
Wow. Okay. All right.
thoughts?
Perfect.